Good evening and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Rob Caldwell. Samantha York is off. Coming up on 207, we are joined by Mr. Drew and his animals too. He'll introduce us to an armadillo lizard, a smaller lizard with a very interesting defense mechanism using its tail to keep predators away. And plenty of people are fascinated by Maine's long history with the sea, and that is on display at the Penobscot Marine Museum in Searsport. People visit to see the historic old houses that are part of the museum and the many artifacts from generations of sea captains, but they also go online to see the amazing collection of 500,000 old photos. Later this half hour, we'll take you to Searsport to find out why so many people want to know what the museum has to share. But first, anyone driving through Freeport may have noticed the extensive work that was done in the last year on the golf course there next to I-295. Crews are building a new $3 million state-of-the-art golf facility. The Alexa Rancourt Golf Learning Center, as it's called, will feature a clubhouse, driving range, 9-hole course, and an indoor simulator for year-round play. There's a lot more to it, though, than just golf. The young woman whom the center is named after, Alexa Rancourt, grew up in Greater Portland, and her story is one of heartbreak and now of hope. Alexa Rancourt was only 6 or 7 years old when she first stepped onto a golf course and started swinging a club. 8 or 9 years old when she started taking lessons and began outdriving boys her age.
I was told by one of the assistant pros at the club that she was one to keep an eye on her because she's got something special.
In 2009, when Alexa was 17, she told us how in 8th grade, she and her dad had gone to South Carolina in the winter for a week-long golf trip.
And I absolutely loved it. I was like obsessed when I came back.
So obsessed that as a teenager, she left Maine and attended an elite high school and golf academy in Florida, hoping to become a touring golf pro. Are you still having fun with it?
I love it. Every time I step on the golf course, I feel like I get this massive smile on my face and I just feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Alexa Rancourt was a star in Maine. She won the state women's amateur championship in 2008 and 2009. She got a golf scholarship to Furman University, a school with an excellent golf program. But her college years were not easy. She suffered from depression and other signs of mental illness. Eventually, she tried 3 times to qualify for the Women's Professional Golf Tour. 3 times, she didn't make it.
I'm not sure if it was a turning point or not, but it was definitely disappointing that she never got through to herself.
Soon after, Alexa walked away from golf, her longtime passion, and moved to Hawaii. She dropped out of traditional society and became, as her dad put it, a wanderer. In 2017, her family didn't hear from her for days.
She was obviously in some kind of mental distress. She told me that she had been fasting with no food and no water for 5 days and wandering the island, Maui. What she told me at one point was she was looking for the bottom so that she would know how far she wanted to climb back up.
Alexa was using drugs, harder drugs, as time went by. As a dad who deeply loved his daughter, you would have given all you had to try to save her. What happened in the end?
The second she got out of her second time in rehab in New York City, she left her children with us in New York and got on a plane and went back to Oregon, Portland, Oregon. And I knew at that point my chances were 50-50 to see her again. And within a month, she was dead from a fentanyl overdose. And I don't know if this is appropriate, but I have to say that this is Narcan, and everybody should carry this. This could have saved Alexa's life if it was administered quickly enough. Potentially, it could have saved her life. Everybody should carry this and have it handy if you see somebody in distress. And on the streets of Portland, there are a lot of people in distress.
Out of that heartbreak, the Rancourt family, including Alexa's mother, father, and sister, chose to do something positive. They have made a major financial donation to the Maine Golf Center in Freeport, the course next to I-295 that thousands of people drive by every day. Construction is underway to create an instructional and playing facility. It'll be called the Alexa Rancourt Golf Learning Center.
Her name is going to sit on that building, not so that people remember what a great golfer she was, but what an incredible person she was, who was heartfelt in her victories and in her defeats, and who was also vulnerable.
The mission is to help nurture talent, especially among young golfers, but even more important, to provide support and understanding to people facing challenges, particularly from mental illness and addiction.
If we can do that for one person, we've made a bad thing, a horribly tragic thing, something that we can feel good about.
This will be a model facility for Maine. It's going to look good. But as the Rancourt family painfully learned, and as they want others to know, it can be a short distance from a manicured fairway to a street of broken dreams.
People need to be seen. When you see someone who's on the streets, and Alexa was, by choice, if you look them in the eye and say, "I see you," that can make someone's day. And everyone seems to be afraid to do that. So feel free to lead with the heart. If we lead with fear, we're going to end up in a bad place.
The Rancourt family is the major donor to this project, but there are many other people, businesses, and foundations that have contributed to it. The Golf Center is expected to open in 2027. And one other legacy of Alexa Rancourt's life, her father tells us she was an organ donor, and 4 people have had their lives immeasurably improved, perhaps saved, by receiving organs from Alexa. We'll be right back. Drew Desjardins is the man behind Mr. Drew and his Animals Too. His Education and Rehabilitation Center for Exotic Animals has recently moved from Lewiston, Auburn to a new home in Poland. He's back with us in the 207 studio. Thanks for coming in. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And what do we have for a guest today?
Right here we have this little guy who's called an armadillo lizard. And this is full grown, so it's a nice sized lizard. It's not too big. Not one you'd want to handle too much. They tend to be nervous. When they get scared or threatened by a predator, they'll wrap their tail around in their head and they'll make like a perfect circle. And they'll bite a hold of their tail. And when they do, there's all these little spikes that stick out, and that's their defense.
Right.
So running or defending themselves with their spikes is enough for that, an animal that might have a sensitive nose or, you wouldn't want to be licking that.
Nope.
And so that's a defense they use. They don't do it in captivity too often, but it is a neat little lizard. You don't see them too often. And this is one I refer to as a look, don't touch pet. Set up a nice little desert vivarium for them, get to enjoy watching them, hunt their bugs and stuff like that.
All right. What else have you got for us today?
All right. So then we have, went off on me. We'll take out this one. This is Hicks.
And Hicks is what?
Hicks is a Honduran milk snake. And let me just get him out. And Hicks is actually on a diet.
Oh.
We received Hicks as obese. And this beautiful snake right here, Honduran milk snake, is actually overweight. A lot of people don't think snakes can get fat. But if we look right here, you see how it's kind of plump here and then it tapers right down?
Yeah.
That's a sign of obesity in a snake. Snakes don't need to eat like dogs or cats would. So a lot of people tend to overfeed them. And I always say, I feed my snake every Monday, and I say nature doesn't make schedules. Food gets away and sometimes there's a shortage of food. They're designed to go without. Now this snake also, the Honduran milk snake, mimics a bunch of other snakes. The Sinaloan milk snake is another one, but it also mimics a venomous snake. So it is a mimic of the coral snake, and the coral snake is venomous. So humans come up with little catchy sayings because we're not very smart. We have to say things over and over again. Animals are smart. They see this color pattern. They don't know what it is. They leave it alone. Humans, they come up with little sayings to remember things, and so we have a saying saying, red touches black, venom lack, and if red touches yellow, will kill a fellow.
Oh, I remember you've told us that before.
But that's not always true, and so that's the thing. Nature makes the rules, and I always tell kids or people that if you don't know what it is, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
It can't hurt you if you leave it alone. And they feel very soft, very smooth.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think they're slimy because of that shine, but they're not. I tell people your tongue is slimy. This is dry.
A touch overweight. We're not being judgmental, but just a touch chubby.
Oh, believe me, I'm not judging.
All right, so you got one more.
All right, we got
animal
one more
for
to
us.
show you. And this is one that a lot of people, they say, oh, we want one, and they get them as babies. They are illegal in Maine. They require permits.
Right.
And so people get these tortoises. And if you reach out to me and saying, my child wants a tortoise, my job is to educate and help, but I will try to talk you out of it.
All
We get
right.
over 200 tortoises
Bring it out,
in a
'cause
year.
The picture's going to be worth a lot of words
This
here.
one here. This tortoise here is a sulcata tortoise. It is the third largest species on the planet, and full grown, he will weigh over 200 pounds. He's right now about 60 pounds, and he is about 11, 12 years old. I'm not certain exactly, but the thing is, this tortoise here will live over up to 8 generations. So this will live to a child's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchild.
So anyone who thinks, oh, wouldn't this be a neat pet, has often no concept of how long this animal will live.
Right, and the thing is with this is, you know, a lot of parents opt for turtles and tortoises because it doesn't eat rodents and it doesn't eat bugs. How hard can it be? And the truth is they're more work than you think, and within a few weeks your child will be bored of it because it does nothing. And so that's the thing. These things live a very long time, and people cannot commit to that length of time. Well, one, it's going to outlive you.
Right.
But I mean, you know, and to say I'm going to leave it in my will is not a proper answer.
Oh, absolutely fascinating, though, Drew. But again, this is what we talk about with you every time, is when people are interested in getting exotic animals, they need to do their homework beforehand and find out what they're in for, whether it's a snake, a turtle, a lizard, whatever.
And that's it. I'm a free resource. You email me, I'll answer and explain to you everything, good, bad, and ugly. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to prevent me from getting more.
All right, well put, Mr. Drew and his animals too. The Education and Rehabilitation Center is in Poland on Route 26. We got more information on it in the 207 section of our app or website. Stay with us. We'll return right after this. One museum in Maine has amassed an extraordinary collection of images of the old and not so old days of our maritime history, and people around the world want to see it. The Penobscot Marine Museum in Searsport has been around for close to 100 years and was started to preserve the seagoing history from the 1800s. But as 207's Don Kerrigan shows us, it's now using some of the most modern techniques to share more with the outside world.
These days, most of the working boats on Maine's coast look like this. But there was a time when Maine's working waterfront was filled with big ships, square riggers that could sail the world, and did. Those days, those ships, and those who sailed them are remembered here, the Penobscot Marine Museum in Searsport.
We grew out of the stories of the local sea captains, but now we really embrace the full history of life and work on the coast of Maine.
Those old sea captains lived in some of these very houses, which now hold the museum and are exhibits in themselves. And those captains? Searsport had a lot of them.
And there's something in the water here in Searsport, so that brothers and uncles and fathers and sons went to sea for at least 2 or 3 generations.
All over the world.
All over the world.
Curator Sipperly Good says those are the stories the museum set out to tell when it began almost 90 years ago.
You open a box and the logbook has a caption where the wife took over the cruise when her husband died, and she becomes the captain.
Nowadays, the museum has expanded its mission, focusing on all of the work done along this coast, from fishing to hauling Maine cargoes, even how and where people lived. And one of their best tools for telling those stories are pictures, photographs. They have built a vast archive of at least 500,000 images.
I'm pretty comfortable with that number, and we unofficially are the largest archive in the state. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without these volunteers.
Kevin Johnson heads the museum's photo archive, where a team of volunteers helps catalog the seemingly endless images, putting more and more of them online for others to explore.
What inspires me to do this so much is that by making these photos available, online and for people to see. It's not just for their enjoyment, it's for the photos to be put to work. And so we get contacted regularly by authors, filmmakers, historical societies, teachers that want to use our photos for books, articles, websites, films, you name it.
Lots of people who may never visit here.
Correct. People from other sides of the world.
The Maine coast is the constant, which is why the museum is now using these photos, along with artifacts and oral histories, to tell the story of Maine's once big sardine industry.
We timed this perfectly because sardines are having a moment.
Sardines are being talked about now as healthy food, she says. Maine doesn't catch and can the little fish anymore, but the museum exhibit can remind us of the days when we did, and how, for much of the 20th century, sardines were part of the coastal culture.
It's been great because we started the whole process by interviewing people who worked in the canneries and in the fisheries to really capture those stories while we could. And people have been really excited for the opportunity to come forward and tell their stories. 5 blasts were for fish, 3 were for packers.
They're even holding a big sardine fest in the fall with tastings, music, and workers from the old days. The old Searsport sea captains are still here. So that's a glass plate. But like the photo archive that's still growing, the museum is looking for new ways to reach out, to share their collection and this place, and tell Maine's long story of the sea.
The Penobscot Marine Museum is closed for the winter, but you can still view the photo collections on its website, penobscotmarinemuseum.org. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this. Coming up tomorrow on 207, what does it take to rejuvenate a town? Cities like Waterville and Biddeford have seen it happen, and now it's happening in Skowhegan. That community on the Kennebec River used to have a struggling downtown, but in recent years it has seen new stores and shops open up, seen the community come together to promote events and projects. And this year a new hotel opened. Residents and business owners say their town is having a revival.
Is it exciting to be part of that?
It is. It's been really exciting. It's nice to see like the positive feedback that comes from, opening up a new shop and then hearing about other places that are like, oh wow, Skowhegan's like the place to be.
On the next 207, Don Kerrigan explores what's happening in Skowhegan and why, and here's the plans for its next big thing. Thanks for being with us tonight. Before we go, we have music from David Young and the Interstate Kings. Here's their song, Despite the Darkness. See you tomorrow.
Though the valleys, they're cutting deep, I'm steadfast in my faith and in my feet. Though darkness, this path replete, I will reach my highest peaks despite the darkness. Alright, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it burn, keep it bright. I said this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it burn, hold it high.